At one point, China was being controlled by multiple foreign powers, all at the same time.
Not just one empire, several. And yet, somehow, China didn't break apart.
It slowly, piece by piece, took control back. So here's how that actually happened.
All right, so let's set the scene. By the mid-1800s, China was literally surrounded. It wasn't just occupied once, it was being squeezed from all sides.
I mean, just look at this list. You've got Britain, France, Russia, Japan, Germany. Pretty much everyone was vying for a piece of the action. So what did they all want? Well, it boils down to one word: access. Access to China's enormous population, its incredibly valuable trade routes, and of course, its resources. For them, China was the ultimate prize.
Now, this is the crucial part. While all of this external pressure was building, China was basically falling apart from the inside. The Qing dynasty was collapsing, the military was outdated, the economy was a mess, and rebellions were popping up everywhere. On paper, it should have been an easy takeover.
You see, the colonial powers had a standard method for this kind of thing, a playbook really, and it had worked almost everywhere else. It was a pretty simple three-step process. Step 1, defeat the ruler. Step 2, install one single colonial authority to run the whole show. And Step 3, extract the wealth. Clean, simple, and very efficient.
But in China, that playbook completely failed. And this is where the story gets really interesting.
So the big question is, why didn't that work here? Well, the first reason comes down to pure physics, really. China was just too big to swallow. Just think about the sheer scale of it. A vast landmass, a massive population, really diverse regions, and some seriously difficult terrain. To occupy all of that would have taken millions of troops. Not even the British Empire, at the absolute height of its power, could pull that off. So, this forced a totally different strategy. Instead of trying to swallow the whole thing, the empires decided to slice it up instead. They took control of specific, valuable assets, like a treaty port here, some railway rights there. What you got was this kind of controlled chaos, these pockets of foreign control right inside Chinese territory. Okay, and this part really matters. All that internal chaos, the peasant rebellions, the civil wars, the regional warlords, it actually made China harder to colonize. See, colonial powers love order. They want a stable, predictable system they can just take over. China was the complete opposite of that. So with no single power able to make a move and take over, something really unexpected started to happen. The intense competition between the empires became China's accidental shield. And this is the absolute core of it. Every single empire was afraid that if they made a big move, another one would swoop in and benefit even more. It was a total stalemate, a kind of strategic paralysis. And you can see this dynamic playing out everywhere. Britain was blocking French expansion in the West. Russia's ambitions in the East were being checked by Japan. Essentially, everyone was watching everyone else. So China didn't become a colony, it became a contested space. Now, while all these foreign powers were locked in their stalemate, a huge power vacuum opened up. And something new, something internal, started to grow to fill that empty space. And watch what happens next. A new force starts to fill that vacuum: Chinese nationalism. This was a popular movement, fueled by years of foreign humiliation. It wasn't about the old dynasty anymore. It was about the very idea of China itself. And slowly, control started shifting back inward. We can actually trace this shift. You know, back in the 1800s, it was all about that external pressure. Then, you fast forward to the early 1900s, and you get this period of chaos and stalemate. But then, look, by the middle of the century, this powerful internal revolution really takes hold, and that's what consolidates the country and closes the door on that era of foreign control. So here's the key takeaway. China survived, but not because it was strong in the way we usually think of strength. It survived because of a really weird set of conditions. It was just too big to control, too chaotic to stabilize, and way too contested for any one empire to dominate. So China didn't escape the age of empire with just one revolution. It escaped by completely reshaping the system itself. And once you see this pattern, you start noticing the same pattern happening elsewhere. That's the real story.